And then I want you to tell me if there is any justification for forgiveness. That is, whether the people involved in the story should forgive whatever. Do you understand? Okay, the first story, you may have heard about this story. It was about this couple who were married for 50 years. 50 years. And the children were all grown. They had 3 children, a man and 2 women, all grown, and they were all working. After the kids had gone together to celebrate the golden jubilee of the wedding of the parents, something happened, and the woman discovered that somewhere along the line when they were young, that the man had cheated once with a family member. She never knew until that day. So when she heard about it, she was very upset. And she filed for a divorce. And the man pleaded. He said, it was a one-time thing. I was young. We were stupid. I shouldn't have done it. I'm sorry. I did it. Forgive me. And the man was really, really genuine and was crying. And, I love you. I've always loved you. We've gone through it all for these 50 years. Something that happened somewhere down there shouldn't cause this in our old age. The children pleaded with the mother, said, well, Mom, he never was unfaithful to you after that. Whatever happened in the past. Forgive that and continue to stay together. And the woman said no. She said, when we stood before the altar, we made a commitment to be faithful until death do us part. I have been faithful to my own part of the covenant. I never cheated on you. You did. And so now I discover that our lives together, we're living a lie. And I cannot stay with lies. And she stood by it, and she divorced him. What do you think? Don't be too much in a hurry to answer. You have to think. What do you think? Anybody can give it. This is a microphone that is behaving like it's bitten by an ant. Want to give it? Angie, come and pick it. Angie. You can pick it up. I mean, people at home will still hear. It's just that it will be doing, but they will hear you for their sake. Angie, come and pick the microphone. Stop disturbing me. Pick the crying microphone. Right there. All right.
I would forgive the husband. I would give the forgiveness to the husband. The wife is forgiving. He had already asked for forgiveness. Others. We're talking about forgiveness of others. So she would forgive him for the act, because if it happened, did it happen in that one time it happened and he promised to never do it again? then I would forgive him. But if it were to happen again, then I wouldn't be so forgiveful.
It's working very well. The infraction happened many years ago. It could have happened maybe under 5 years of their marriage. It could have happened under 3 years of their marriage. But for a good, say, 47 years, the man was faithful to her. It was just that he was stupid once. Yeah, your reasoning is good. That is Angie's reasoning. Now you're not bound to take her reasoning. All right, yes, Debbie.
Well, Father, in the beginning, he should have told her at first, before they got married.
I like where this is going.
And
Okay.
I figure she can forgive him. But sometimes once you cheat, like they say, once a cheater, always a cheater. And so maybe that's what kind of scared her, because she didn't have that trust in him to thinking he was going to do it again.
That is very important to talk about. You said he should have told her. How many of you think that he should have told her? Annette, why do you think he shouldn't have told her? Yeah. I know. I want to know why.
I'm not really sure if he should have told her. If he would have told her,
Yeah.
maybe they wouldn't have been together. They wouldn't have been together. And
Yeah.
at this point, they're together, what you say, 52 years, 50 years? Yeah.
Would it have made a difference?
Right, like you said, once a cheater, always a cheater. That would have been her thing, probably. Like you said, so they probably wouldn't have never stayed together.
Yep.
So I would have.
Good point again. All right, Nancy has his answer.
She told him that she took her vows seriously.
Yes.
So I don't think she really wanted to forgive him at that point, because she thought by saying, you take your vows till death do you part, and you don't cheat on nobody. That's what she meant, and she would never change her mind.
That's why she refused to forgive him.
Yep.
Yes, Tasha?
I would have forgiven him. I think he should have told her in the beginning when it happened,
Okay.
because I can understand her thinking that all these years was a lie, because you did that and you kept that secret from me so long. You could have brought that to me, and we could have cleaned the slate and started fresh. Because if it was a family member, who says how many times we've been to cookouts with them and everybody laughing, and you two know, and I'm standing here in the dark. I'd rather you bring it to me and tell me up front, and then we'll move from there.
Very good.
That's just my opinion.
Very, very good. Okay, let me give you another. Andrew, you want to talk? Okay.
Yes, the husband did commit the sin of omission in not telling her all of these years. Maybe he didn't want to hurt her, give him the benefit of the doubt. But once he was confronted with it, he didn't try to lie his way out of it, didn't try to cover it up either. At least he was honest with her then.
Very good. Okay. Jude, you have something to add?
I guess as the only man here, I have to say something.
Yes.
I believe in forgiveness. So I believe
You believe in?
forgiveness.
In
So
forgiveness,
I believe
okay.
she should forgive him.
Okay.
But I believe that from a man's perspective, one of the reasons he may not have told her is because he didn't forgive himself. So it has forgiveness of self to come in there. Yeah. So sometimes it's just that you don't want to face what you did. You don't forgive yourself, and if you can't forgive yourself, you can't believe that someone would forgive you if you can't even
Juanita,
forgive
bring
yourself.
it, bring. Yeah, go ahead. Bring my food. Yes, go ahead. Sorry about that. Thank you, Mama. Don't mind them. They're laughing at me. Let them laugh. You talk about forgiveness, you are laughing at your pastor, asking for food. You think I will forgive you? It's so bad. Thank you, Mama. I don't mind them. Yes, Jude. Okay. All right. Now, let me give you a second part of that story. This one, again, happened to me. This one is a real story. I wasn't there, okay? So listen to a similar story. This time I was there because I was the counselor, okay? The first one is a man, right? The second one is a woman. They went to Ireland. Herself and the husband. They went and had a wonderful vacation. You know how sometimes you go on vacation, something sometimes has a way of holidays sometimes get messed up, right? I don't know about you, but sometimes holidays get messed up. So they quarreled, and the wife went her way, and the man went his way. That night, the man refused to go back to the hotel room where they were staying. He went to the pub and drank himself to stupor. He didn't do nothing wrong. He just stayed there with the guys, drank and they talked. The lady went back to the hotel room, waited for him. He didn't show up. She was upset. She knew where he was. She knew the pub that she was, or the guy was. And so she came out of the hotel room and wanted to go and bring him home. On the way, he met a handsome young man who spoke to her. "Oh, beautiful girl." This young man said everything that this girl wanted the husband to say. And he didn't say. "Look at how beautiful your hair is. You are so beautiful. Beautiful one, what are you doing here?" And then said all this, "Come, let us go and sit down. I cannot, see you without giving you a drink." And like that she went. One thing led to another. He took her to his hotel room and slept with her. She woke up early in the morning, felt rotten, and ran back to the hotel room thinking that the husband had come back in. He didn't. And so she went in and brushed up and did everything, but guilt would not let her look at this man in the eye. So they came back. And then she came to me in the parish where I was and told me the story. Said, "Father, for 3 weeks since we came back, I've not been myself. I cannot look at my husband in the eye. I feel so guilty. Each time he looks at me, it's like, I know what you did. Father, what should I do?" So I said, "What do you want to do?" She said, "I want to tell him." And I said, "No, don't. Do not tell him." She said, "Father, I cannot live with myself if I don't tell him." I said to her, "How much do you cherish this marriage?" She said, "A lot." how much do you love your husband? He said, a lot. And I said to her, you know I love your husband too. He said, yes, Father, that is what I'm telling you. Don't tell him. He's better off not knowing. I told her what to do to try to satisfy her conscience. And I told her that time will heal. And I told her to promise me that she will never mess up again. And I joked with her, said, if you mess up, I will kill you myself. Because you know how much I love you. He said, yes, Father. And you know how much I love him. He said, yes, Father. So I said, don't tell him. He will be fine. What do you think she did? Eh? What do you think what would you do, you, Lisa? If I was to give you that advice, what would you do? You'll tell him. Then he wouldn't respect me. Because that marriage ended the day she told him. And if I tell you what to do and you don't do it, and you go and do what I say you shouldn't, that marriage will end. You guys have no idea. You guys have no idea. You guys have no idea what it is for a man to think or to know. There are so many marriages here that crumble and you have no idea why. And to everyone, I can tell you why and how. I wouldn't have told him, her, in the first place. He was right. And it wouldn't make any difference. Any day she heard it, that is the end of that marriage. Whether it was on that day when the marriage was 3 years old, come on now, this is 50 years after wedding. We're talking about 50 years after wedding. What else are you living for? You are dead. She was 87. The man was 90 years old. And what she said is, you lied. You were unfaithful. But let's leave all this aside. Let's go back to why we are telling the story. We are telling the story about forgiving oneself and forgiving others. You said maybe the problem was he could not forgive himself. I don't think that was the problem. I don't think what was at stake here was forgiveness of self or forgiveness was others. The problem here could have been the man was so remorseful and just felt that she will never find out. And that is why the biggest problem in this case is the person who told the woman. The question I'm asking is, why did you do that? What benefit did you give to that woman for telling her that when you know she's 87 years old and she has stayed with this man for 50 years? And you think that when they celebrate Golden Jubilee is a beautiful time to come and add to the beauty of the celebration? Should the woman forgive him? Yes, she should. Because if you have stayed with him for this 47 years or 50 years, and you have not seen him being unfaithful or doing anything close to it, you should have known that he has tried, which is what I told the girl, what I told her to do to the husband. Go to your husband and be very good and nice to him. And don't you ever do that again. Do not give your husband any reason to suspect you. But she knew that was more difficult to do. And she said, well, I trust my husband, he will forgive me, blah, blah, blah. My dear, he may forgive you, but he will never look at you the same again. Trust me. He will never. And there are some men who are very good. He will hold that on you till you die. And that will be a reason for him to be unfaithful to you. And the next thing will be, what about when you did it? Are you the only one who should do it? Forgiveness of others is not easy. But also you have to walk in forgiveness of self there. Yes, to some extent, it is now that the guilt of what he did will kill the man. And that is when he will need to forgive himself. Not then, because there was no repercussion then, but there is now. The question is, now that the woman has divorced him, will he ever find it in his heart to forgive himself? Because some men and even some women have committed suicide because of that. See what I have done. I am the cause of this. My marriage is broken. It is because of me. I am so bad. What kind of a person I am? To have caused this to my wife, whom I love for these years. Does it mean that he ever stopped loving her? No. And that is where forgiveness of self will come in. That man is going to do penance for the rest of his life. And he may not survive. He may not live for too long. Yep. God bless you. Yep. So, you have to know what you rush to tell the other person, even when you are together as friends or married men and women. I am not giving you a license to sin. What I'm saying is, somewhere along the line, we all make mistakes and we fall. Even the man that you are rushing to go and tell, you don't know what he has done, and is feeling the same way. How can I tell my wife? If I tell there was a man again who told me, Father, if I tell her, and the man was he said, it's not the marriage that is my problem. If I tell him, if I tell her, I will kill her. I will break her heart, and I cannot stand that. And I said, that's fine. Do not tell her, because I don't want you to break her heart. Go and buy that jewelry she's been looking for, and you didn't have money to buy it. Just go and buy it and give it to her. And he said, Father, why would I do that? I said, because whenever you see that, it will tell you that that is the cause of your sin. Go, son, do not sin again. And whenever you go out, it seems that you should wear that jewelry. You see how this life is lived? This is how we live life. None of you here is a saint. Neither am I. If we were to be saints, we would be in heaven. That is why we are on a pilgrimage moving towards sainthood. All right. Are you all happy with that? If you have something to say about this, is this the kind of sin that or a story you want to hear and relate with and know what to do in a situation if something should happen? Yes, this is one of the things that we should look at. Do you pray that it should happen to you? No, God forsake, no, let it not happen. But if it should happen, God knows it shouldn't, then you know how to deal with it. Because you are dealing with hearts. And this is emotion. And this is feeling. And once you play with it, you can kill. And you can render somebody to a living dead. And she will be pretending that she's happy every time, but she's never happy. And she will go to bed, or he will go to bed. I will never trust you because they say, oh my goodness, I hope she didn't do it again. I hope he didn't do it again. Just because you told him or her. Right? This is our Father. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Last Sunday, during Passion Week, or Sunday, we read about a lot of things. I was talking about identify with the characters, right? And I singled out two, Judas Iscariot, which we read today, and Peter. Both of them committed sins, big ones. One betrayed his master, the other denied his master. One believed in the power of forgiveness, the other one did not. Both of them felt remorse for the sin they had committed. One waited for the Lord, the other one did not. One felt that his sin was so bad that God will not forgive. The other one said, Lord, you know me. You know who I am. He entrusted himself to God. We must walk that path. Sometimes the biggest problem we have with forgiveness, like I told you, is pride. And thinking that when I forgive you, I'm doing you a favor. On that, the second scenario, this one happened to me. In this house, here in Baltimore, is a very big swimming pool at the back of the house. And this woman gave birth to this beautiful 2-year-old baby, her first child. So she was about going to work. No, she went to work and came back. And she came back. The aunt was at the swimming pool with the baby. And then, when the aunt turned around, the baby was sitting by her side. And when she turned around, she saw the baby in the pool. And she jumped in and brought the baby out. The baby had taken so much water and drowned. So this woman who just came back from work went in, took a shower, came back to nurse her baby, and ran, calling the baby by name, and then came and saw the baby on the floor with extended stomach, and the aunt trying to push the water out of the baby's stomach. To cut the long story short, the baby died. I saw it in the news. I didn't know who it was. And then I was called. And then they said, Father, so and so. Is that what I saw in the news? I said, yes, Father. They want to make arrangement for burial, funeral. They wanted me to bury them, or the baby. This happened, I would say, good 19 years ago, here in Baltimore. So they wanted me to console the family. I didn't know what to say. How am I going to console this woman with a 2-year-old boy, with the aunt? I didn't know what to do. So we waited, and then the church was packed full. Then they brought the child in. I just looked at this woman. And she shouted in the church and fainted. So they carried her to the sacristy. And I stood there. Nobody knew what to do. Who knows what to do in a situation like this? What are you going to say to the family? What are you going to say when that woman came back to us? What are you going to say to her? As a priest, what are you going to preach? As a priest, what are you going to preach? I'm not going to tell you what happened because things happened and I preached and I buried the child. So, who wants to react? What forgiveness are we talking about here? And how can we apply it? That's good. Very good, Jude. I didn't say anything. I didn't tell him to give you the microphone. So just pick the microphone and just leave the poor man alone. He didn't do anything wrong. Let me turn my own off because we don't want any intrusion here. We're going to hear.
Whoa. This is, it's a hard one because you have the mother of the child who probably will struggle to forgive the aunt, and then you have the aunt who probably will struggle to forgive herself. And I mean, you're absolutely right. What do you say to someone who just lost their child? And how would the two of them then mend their relationship? Because it's going to be something there.
You've gone far more than I thought. You have no idea what I will tell you. Do you know that this is the only story that has brought the three forgiveness together? This is the one story, and I never thought about it. That is the one story that has brought the three forgiveness together. Because we have talked about how is this one going to forgive herself? She could have said, when I came back from work, the best thing I would have done, I would have taken my child to the room and put her in the bed. And she can say that. So will she forgive herself? Will she forgive her aunt? How will the aunt ever look at her? Where was God when the 2-year-old crawled into the water? So, Mama, continue. Now that you've said the sin, break it open. We are all ears. And thank you. Thank you for being so smart to bring all that we have done for 6 weeks together.
You're welcome.
Oh, goodness me. See the story of my life?
No, I mean, again, and you're absolutely right, because as a parent, you'd question a lot. You'd question, there'd be blame for self. It'd just be more questions than answers.
Yes. 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 Tasha.
That was a hard one. You have to forgive yourself, you have to forgive others, and you have to forgive God. And you have to ask for forgiveness from God after you accuse him. I don't think they'll speak for a while, but I do think in time, as the wound heals, I think that they will come together again. Because when they forgive, you have to also remember that God is in the midst. And once she forgive herself and she forgive God, he's gonna, he's mysterious. Something mysterious is gonna happen, and it's gonna bring them together, and they're gonna love each other like never before. And ordinary folks like us, we'll never understand it when we see the close bond that they have. Because in the flesh, we're looking at them like, how could you be close to her when she was negligent with your child? That's the flesh speaking. But when the spirit gets in it, you're in a whole new realm. And it's a mystery. I can't explain it. But once you reach out and you forgive God and God forgives you for accusing him, he'll also place something else in you. It's a mystery.
Yeah, well said. The most difficult person to forgive here is not themselves, is not the sister and the aunt, because they did forgive themselves. The most difficult person to forgive here was God. Yeah. Yes, there were a lot of things said about negligence, but they were also talking about she has been taking care of this child and nothing had ever happened. And they were able to say that she was not a negligent person, it's just that, and it was a twinkling of an eye. So what kind of God, that was the question, what kind of God would just allow a child to drown like that? And then let's go back to Marietta J. Galen of last week. We're talking about, or 2 weeks ago, forgiving of others. When she said, I can strangle the man who kidnapped my child, 7 years old, and took her into the bush and raped her. And God said, that is not how I want you to feel. Sometimes forgiveness can be presumed. You cannot, and nobody should. But that also doesn't mean that we should extend forgiveness for too long, because we don't know how many years that we have. Because I will forgive you next year. There are so many people who come to hospital there, and their family members are either comatose or they are conscious with all the everything, hooked onto the machine. And then you go to talk to the family, and you hear the wife said, I wish I can only tell him I'm sorry. Or you hear the son say something, I was keeping malice with my mother. I wish she can just open her eyes to tell her, Mom, I didn't mean it. It was just a stupid thing. If I had known, I wouldn't have borne a grudge till now. Now I will never be able to tell her. She will never know that I am sorry for what I did. I've heard that so many times in the hospital. And sometimes when I hear it, I feel so sad. I feel so sad because we spend so much time fighting and quarreling for things that don't matter. Things that don't matter. We spend our time bearing grudges, putting people in our hearts, running helter-skelter for things that don't matter. My niece ran away from home, ran away from the father, from my house. I was staying in my house with the father. I called her, she wouldn't pick my call. Okay? She's 18 going to 19. That's okay. I told the dad, Father, I don't want to talk about her. Really? I've removed her from my phone. I don't even have her phone number. I don't care. That discussion we had this morning. Because yesterday when I was driving to go and help Father Uju for confession at New All Saints, a text entered my phone. How are you, Father? I turned around. It's my mother that I call her my mother. I call her Ma Teresa, because that is what I call her. I call her my mother. How are you, Father? I said, I'm fine. Where are you? She says she's working somewhere. Okay. Why are you there? The father put her in a good school. I paid part of the school fees, bought all the books, gave her pocket money. She failed so bad. In my family, there are certain things we don't do. One, we don't fail exams. Two, we don't cheat. We don't lie, and we don't steal. Those things, when my dad and my mom were alive, they were like a sacred commandments, which has not been broken yet. But my nieces and nephews, mainly my nieces, have broken that commandment of failing exams. One of my nieces failed exams so good, I celebrated her failure until I pulled her out of school. I refused to pay her school fees. I told her, Dad, go and put her to do some other thing. Because this child has failed so bad, she will never go anywhere. Just this otherness of mine. And as she was talking to me, I knew exactly what she wanted. The bottom line was that she needed financial assistance. I knew that. And then I talked to myself. I said, what should I do? Help this child or not? How much will I need to help her? $20 will go a long way. So I said to the dad, can you send me her account details? He said, no, Father. I said, really? Okay, no problem. So I sent her a text. I said, send me her account details. Just like that. Within 2 seconds, I got the account details. I did not even say good morning. I sent her some money. The answer came, but thank you very much. God bless you, Uncle Father. That is what I stay for. What I'm saying, in a sense, it could be seen as enabling, right? We can say that. But that child needs that help. I can withhold forgiveness. As if I have any reason to withhold forgiveness. I've told you guys that I give reasons not to withhold forgiveness. So even though I know all this psychology, counseling, enabling, you're enabling her, this and that, I know all that. But she is in need. Forgiveness is like that. So all these 6 weeks, that is what we have been looking for. We have been looking at forgiveness from different angles, right? We look at our Father from so many angles, and we can do this for the next 1 year. I have tried to share this with some of my priest friends, and they're saying, Father, maybe we need to do this. Because I've told you time and time again, as a people, we don't forgive. It is not that we don't forgive. I think the problem is we don't know how to go about it. And then maybe we know how to go about it, but the pride won't allow us. And that is why living authentic Christian life is very difficult. My dear friends, I'm telling you the gospel truth. These days I've been trying to look at why do we have our churches empty? Why do we have things going like this in our churches? I have been asking myself that question so many times. And I think I have some answers. And I'm still working on some of them. And I want to put it into writing first to give me that clarity of mind so that I will be able to implement it. If we were to have time, I would have loved to keep this number for some other purpose. Would love to keep this class for some other purpose. Because you have listened to me and the way you respond tells me that you are doing a lot of soul searching, a lot. And you are applying some of the things that's why you come up with such powerful answers that if we if we apply it to life, it works. Look at that connection that Lisel made there with that child, with the aunt, with the mother, and with God. That is exceptional. And that is what, and even as she has made that connection, it is not easy for us to work out the method of forgiveness among the three people there. It is not easy. Because there are certain times that you want to forgive, and that person will go and report how they, and these are the other voices are the ones that destroy things for us. And that is why I always say to you, please, when you hear something said about your sister or about your brother, don't be fast to react. Try to ask questions. Now, the last thing we want to do is we have what? 7 minutes too. Don't worry, we are leaving today at 7. Now, I want us to look at this because I don't know why I keep on looking at this Proverbs chapter 30. By the way, how many of you did your homework till the end? How many of you do your homework every day? You didn't. I know you didn't. You didn't. I know you. I know you didn't. Because you are running and trying to save the world, and you don't want to save your soul. Karen, did you do your homework? The Psalms? Well, keep the Psalms. You can still do them. Why don't you did your assignment? You can still go ahead and do it. Yeah, go back. You can still go back and do your assignment. It's not late. The part you have not done, you should go back and do them. Andre, you have done it all. Nancy? Almost. No, it's not. We are not done yet. Today should be the last day. Lisa, have you done your assignment? Why are you shaking your head? You told me you have been doing it every day. That's what you said. And you do it with Jude? This is so bad. Giving excuses. Angie, did you do your assignment? I will not give assignment to anybody again. Two things I ask of you, deny them not to me before I die. Put falsehood and lying far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Provide me only with the food I need, lest being full I deny you, saying, who is the Lord? Or being in want I steal and profane the name of God. Where is that from? What I've just read now. Where is that from? That's correct. Proverbs 30, verse 7 to 9. In their father, eh? Eh? You didn't do what?
I didn't do that one.
That was a.
That's why I ain't know where it was from.
You should have done that yesterday. Oh, no. 3 days ago. Yeah, today is 4th. Today is 5th?
Today's the 5th.
Yeah, you should have done that on Thursday.
But can I ask you something
Yes, why not?
about Proverbs? Because it kept going back and forth with the evil and the good.
Yeah.
Every time, because I did get up to like 19, I got to Proverbs.
Was that why you stopped?
No, but it just, because I kept saying the same things over and over.
It's not the same thing.
No, not really the same, but it's close.
Okay. Do you know what the book of Proverbs says? Okay. It's okay. You didn't know. You should just say, no, I don't. And we will explain. Proverbs is part of that area called wisdom literature. Wisdom. And is comparing two things all the time. Evil, good. Evil, good. It's like the book of Ecclesiastes and Ecclesiasticus. They are all books of wisdom. Even Psalm. Psalm is a book of wisdom.
Yeah, I like Psalm.
Psalm is part of wisdom literature. Now, these people were exploring the world to find out the antithesis of the world. Why are things like this? Why do evil people, triumph and good people suffer? So they have seen that these things happen to evil men, but they also happen to good persons. There's a place in the book of Proverbs that said, what kind of life is this? The same fate comes to good people or bad people alike. They will all be buried. And then the other one will say, this is unfair, because all that the rich people work for will go to the poor, and they will die, and all of them will go to one fate. What does that tell you? To put your life in perspective and not allow yourself to be pushed into one way rather than the other. Find a balance in your life. That is why it is so interesting. Yes, Mama? Yes. Yes. Very good. You know why? You know why? The time of the Hebrews and all these people is not the area in Scripture that I really like to teach, because I don't like the way it sounds in my ears, but it is what it is. Women and children were seen as property. They had no, that's why they say, this thing that is a woman's tale. That's what it's called. Telling a tale of a woman is that most of the time that is what they do, gossip. So a woman could not give a testimony in court. That's why when they caught the woman who was caught in the act of committing adultery, where was the man? The man was let go, and they caught the woman. Now, one of the reasons is that the woman is the one who lured the man to sin because of the features of a woman. This is in their minds. So when you put all this together, that is why in Islam, what do? A woman covers every part of her body. And then the man will still be able to see at night. So that is that, that problem, which is, and even here in this country, every politician wants to fix the problem of a woman, and without fixing their own problem. So that is why at that beginning that they're telling you that if you don't keep this way, you will be lured by these women who will come dressed like this, and they will take you to this place. So men, be on the watch. But then again, when you look at it, they are talking about free women. We know that there are free women like that who are out to entice men, and there are men like that who are also pimps who are trying to entice women. So today, things are a little different from what it was in those days. That's why I don't like to preach that. Even St. Paul was saying a woman has no right to talk in church. A woman should cover her hair. After all, it was a woman that caused a man to sin. All these stupid things that we're talking about. It makes you feel so sad. But that is what it is. So, say that again? Oh, yes, they are. That's why I'm so sad that Hillary Clinton didn't win that election. I cried when that woman did not win the election of 2016. That is me, and I stand by it. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You took that from my... Actually, I forgot. I wanted to say that. But even with that, see, the woman is the one doing all the work.
Always.
And it is because she's doing all the work that she's liberated as a perfect woman. She wakes up early in the morning before the husband. She puts food on the table. She makes sure that the children are all dressed up. She goes to work. And then she greets everybody. And then the onlookers said, he's the best. He has married a perfect woman, which is this thing I read from my mother. I said, my mother is the perfect, because she was. I can see everything they applied to my mother and most women. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, she becomes a perfect woman. And you know where the perfect woman is coming from? The perfect woman is liberated from, you believe it or not, the birth of Jesus Christ. And that perfect woman is the Blessed Mother, who, through the redemptive power and grace of God, he has now come to redeem all of us. Because the mother, stored all these things in her mind and lived in accordance with the Son. So she is a perfect woman. And that is why the church is a perfect woman under image, the image of our Blessed Mother. That is beautiful. That part is beautiful. So, let's conclude with this, unless you have a question. I brought that up to say that our Father has everything. The area that it talks about food is the area that most of the time leads us astray. And so if I were you, I would like to make sure that I keep that Proverbs chapter 30, verses 7 to 9 in my head. I love it so much. It is a very powerful prayer. I would love to type it and put somewhere and to remind myself every time, because that is what we should pray for. See, we don't need too much money in this world. Honestly, we don't. We only need the kind of money that will sustain us, and then we do a little charity, and that's it. Put gas in my car, help my church, do charity, and be happy. You're not eating that much in a whole day. How much do you spend in a day on food for yourself alone? This morning when I woke up, I can tell you what I ate this morning. I hope my nurse will not say I overate. I ate 2 tangerines. I ate 1 banana. And then I took a cup of coffee. That was all I ate in the morning. That is not too much, is it? Okay. Incidentally, I didn't eat anything again. I didn't feel like eating anything again the whole day. The whole day. So in the evening, around 5 o'clock, I had to force myself to eat. Just vegetable. And then I discovered that I didn't prepare the meal. Somebody prepared it for me. And there's too much salt in it, so my legs start swelling. Later I eat a little, you can see it when you finish, you look at it. It's all swollen. It's because there was salt in this soup. So I threw it away. It's too much salt. But that's, if you quantify everything I've talked about now, it's not up to $12 for a whole day. Well, maybe I will drink a bottle of stout when I go back. That would not be bad. It's bitter, right? Stout, stout. It's bitter, right? So it's good. Yeah, I'll drink 2 bottles of that. I've just been given permission. So what I'm saying is this: all we need is to ask God, because you need consistency. You don't need to have a job today and then be able to make $10 today. Then for the next 2 weeks, you don't make anything. That is what he's talking about. He wants God to prevent us from going in such a want so that we get ourselves into trouble. But now the final thing I want to do, because I promised we will do this, and I want to thank you for being here all these days. Let me see, child, forgiveness, and okay. We talked about how do we pray. We talked about different types of prayer. I'm going to do this. This is 7:06. I'm going to do this for just about 5 minutes. We can talk through it in 5 minutes, okay? We have prayers conventional prayers that we say, Our Father, Hail Mary, glory be to the Father. These are all very good prayers, okay? You can never go wrong with that, praying the rosary. Please try and pray the rosary. It is very calming. I told you, Lisel, to pray the rosary every day. Every day. I'm serious. Every day, especially when you are going to work. Yes, when you go, as soon as you enter the car and the key, pray till you get to work. Pray your rosary, and don't be afraid of the rosary. Pray it until you get to your desk. I do that until I get to the chapel sometimes, and then the fourth uh, um, to the parking lot. I hold my rosary and I pray it. But we should try, all of you walking, driving to work, pray the rosary because it will help you. These people who are driving stupid, you will not even remember or see them. Angie, that goes with you too. You drive to work. Betty, Debbie, you drive to work? No, sorry. Okay. All right, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. I said, I'm sorry. It is so good. It is actually very good. It's soothing. So all those ones, but there's another prayer that is very subtle prayer that you can do for 5 minutes, okay, or 10 minutes. Let's call it not contemplation, or let's call it meditation. That's an easy one to say. But I don't want you to just sit down and do meditation. You can do that. Now, Tasha, you can do that before you start work in your office, which is your house, or that desk when you go there. Okay.
I pray before I start working.
Not this type of prayer.
Oh, no, I just say alcohol.
She's so bad. So this is what I want you to form the habit of doing. You can build it up gradually, okay? All right. Take for instance, you want to pray. Give yourself time. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Make sure you give yourself time. And the time is you giving yourself. And make sure that the time you give yourself, you'll be able to do it for that time. So, I open the Bible. I'm not opening any particular place. I just open the Bible. And my mind falls into chapter 8 of the first letter to the Corinthians. So I'm just going to read a few lines. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I don't have time. This prayer, I'm just giving myself 5 minutes only. 5 minutes, that's what I'm giving myself. So, I sit down first. I have to acknowledge that I'm in the presence of God. And remember what we are told in chapter 6 of Matthew's Gospel. When you want to pray, do what? Go into your and shut the door. Where is that door? Anywhere you want to pray. The door is your heart. In that your office, that becomes the door. Okay. So go in there, you shut the door. You make sure that you are comfortable. Sit down. Make sure you rest your feet on the floor perfectly well because you want to balance. Remember, you're just praying for about 5 minutes. So don't prolong it for too long. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Then I'm going to read to myself. No, I'm showing you how to pray this short prayer. So I'm going to read. Now, in regard to meat, sacrificed to idols, we realize that all of us have knowledge. Knowledge inflates with pride, but love builds up. If anyone supposes he knows something, he does not yet know as he ought to know. But if one loves God, God is known by him. Now, there's so many things that have popped into my mind there. Remember I told you to always pay attention to things that pop into your mind? Remember that? And things will always come, believe you me. For me, what popped into my mind there was, but if one loves God, one is known by him. Oh my goodness. But if one loves God, God is loved by him. (7:11). I have 4 minutes. In fact, I have 3 minutes to pray. But if one loves God, God is loved by him. I still have 1 minute. And there's something I'm going to do with that 1 minute. And that is Thanksgiving. In that 1 minute remaining, I'm going to thank God for being with me while I was praying. And then remember, I am here to work. So I'm going to dedicate the day, the people I'm going to meet in my place of work to Him, in thanksgiving to Him. Bless the day, bless my day. And then I want also to throw in a prayer for those I love. That 1 minute. Bless my spouse, my parents, and my brothers and sisters, and those who work with me. God, help me to be a blessing to them today. Cast away from me all the evil people and all those who wish me ill. Clean my heart to accept and love them as your sons and daughters. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. That's a very short prayer. Lectio Divina. Lectio, the Bible. Blessing your mind, inspiring you, directing you a day. 5 minutes. Now, how many of you prayed with me? Did a little meditation. How did it feel? Calming, right? Very calming. It's not always calming like that. Yes, but it is in the preparation. And during that time that you feel that monkeys are flying every day or everywhere, allow them. The prayer is only 5 minutes. They're not going to come out. They're only doing that to distract you. But you see, there's a reason you have refused to allow them to distract you. You know the reason? Because whenever they start distracting you, you say that word or that phrase that pops into your head, and it drives them away. Whenever they come back again, you repeat that word or that phrase. And then as time goes on, you don't repeat it loud again, you do it in your mind. And so by the time you do it 3-4 times, you are calm. And you see that I was breathing 2 or 3 times. You know what the breathing does? Once you feel yourself agitated a little bit or anxious, and you can do that anywhere, take in enough oxygen and hold it. It will dispel, I call it butterfly. It will dispel it. If you want to read and you feel butterfly here, you let go. You want to sing as we're singing there, you guys sing very well. You take it in and then hold it. Because when you hold it and let it go gradually, that's when the anxiety goes. And then pull, you start singing. I know. All right, so unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I will miss this class. I really, really enjoyed it. And we see if we can do it again in Advent. How about that, in Advent? Yes. See if we can do it again in Advent. Now, Lisel, how much did we audit the class? Because how much were we to take for the class? We were to take I think credit hours like $450 per credit hour. I think it's about 4 credit hours that we were. Karen, how many credit hours did we do this since we started so that we can pass on the money? You know, your pastor is going for a surgery, so. Thank you for everything. And remember, tomorrow, all of you have to be part and parcel of everything to do this week. Tomorrow is our worship of Mass of the Last Supper, right? Then Friday, Holy Saturday, then Christmas Sunday. because of the big personal carbon